Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and Miniature video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Victrix Limited's early Imperial Roman generals, right? You get 28 millimeter Roman generals. I feel that it's early Imperial, so I feel you could use these for your Caesarians as well. Possibly, yeah. I would see no problem using them. The uniforms haven't really changed for the generals over the centuries. So when you take a look at these early Imperial Roman generals, you might be pretty impressed. Okay, so now you get the instructions on the card, like you always do with the new Ziploc bag versions of their miniatures. I'm going to set this off to the side. All right, you get 4 sprues. You get 4 sprues of generals. Each sprue has 3 models on it. I've already assembled 3 of the sprues, so I already have 9 of them assembled. You can kind of see over here, and I'll show you those up close here in a minute. But I'm going to take these, and you still have some additional parts left over. And remember, a lot of these parts you can use on your Imperial Romans from Victrix, like the Legionaries, when you get those. If you need like an extra sword arm or something like that, you might be able to use some of these parts. Maybe. So just hold on to those extra parts. Now this is a complete sprue right here. You get 3 horses, okay, both sides of the horses. The tails and the heads are all molded as part of the side, and then you just put the other side into the slot, which I found was kind of new, a little bit different, was you get saddles. The saddle glues onto the horse, because when you assemble them, there is a hole on the top. There winds up being like this square hole on the top, and you have to put the saddle down into that hole. Okay, so just so you know, you have a senior centurion, a legate. I've always called them legatus, but legate or legatus. And then you also have a general. So 3 models per sprue, you get a total of 12 models, but it winds up being 4 generals, 4 senior centurions, and 4 legates. Now, when it comes to your heads, you only get 1 centurion head, so all your centurions will have the same head. There you go. And then the rest are either with or without a helmet. You got 2 without. One guy's balding. One guy's got a nice short haircut. And then you have 2 helmets. One is a little fancier, and then one is not so fancy. And then you get 3 swords inside sheaths. So if you wind up not putting a sword in their hand, you can glue the sheath with the sword to their side. If you do wind up gluing the sword in their hand, then all you have to do is cut the sword hilt and pommel and quillions off of there, and then that way it'll look like an empty sheath. You get 3 capes. They are specifically paired up with the torsos that you get, and you get a centurion, a legate, and a general. And so you get a centurion, a legate, and a general cape. Okay, these 2 helmets, you might notice they don't have any kind of ornamentation, no plumage, but you do get 2 plumes. You get, let's flip it over. You get this plume here with a ponytail, and then you get this plume there that's wider and more puffier. And then on the arms, you get the arms with no... okay, well, let's back up. You get 3 arms, 1 for the centurion and 2 for the legate and the general, with an empty left hand holding the reins of the horse. And then the right hands, remember the general and the legates can use the same arms because they have the same type of sleeves, and it winds up being 2 swords or a hand up saying, you know, like halt or follow me or what have you. And the centurion also has a hand up, or he could have a sword, there you go, or his staff. If you want him to be carrying his staff, a staff of leadership. Okay. Looks like I might have popped that guy off the sprue already. Oh, and one last thing that I wanted to say about this sprue, which I just find myself giggling and laughing. I don't know if you can see that little piece there. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a close-up of all these, and then I'm also going to show you what I've done with these guys. But there's like a little flowery head right there. That's about 2 millimeters across, and very, very easily to lose that piece or whatever. But that goes on the chest of your horse, so the general's horse. So if you have a general's horse, right there where the strap goes across the front of the horse, that little ornament is supposed to go there. Okay. All right, so let me change the focus and we'll zoom in on these, and I'll let you take a close look before I show you the models. All right, so let's take a quick look at these heads. Let's try to get light. Let's try to get focus. That guy is very ornamental. Roman haircut. Basic helmet. We got a balding head, and then of course your centurion's head. Front and back. Okay. Capes have a lot of detail on them, a lot of ruffle, ridges and folds in the fabric. And then there's the horses. The horse blankets stand out, the straps, those little flowers that I was showing you. And then the general's horse has like these extra little streamers hanging off of the harness, where the legate and the centurion don't have that. They got these look like little spring rope saddle holders or what have you. And then that's the simple saddle and the ponytail plume. A lot of hair detail. And then you're looking at the swords with the sleeves. And then the sword or the hands without sleeves would go on the centurion. Another sword. The staff. Hand up. Sword. Then you got these sheaths with swords in them, and then the more hands. Okay, let's look at the torsos of the guys. Centurion, you can tell because of his chainmail and the discs that he has as additional status symbol awards. And if you wound up not putting the cape on, you still have quite a bit of detail on the back side of these guys. Okay. You've got your general right there. Okay, I'm going to have to turn it so that the light and the bipod are not in the way. Okay, so you've got the general, and the one way you can tell this one is the general is he has no pants on. His full thigh and knee and calves are exposed. He's got his breastplate, front and back. And again, you don't have to put a cape on him, but that cape really makes him look a lot more regal, and I put cape on all of them. Now, this guy is your legate, and he does have these half pants on. You can see the pants stop right below the knee right there. And he also has the breastplate. Everything's the same except those pants, pretty much. Okay. So the 12 models you get 4 of each: legate, general, and centurion. Let me get these out so you can take a look at them. All right, so we got the general, a centurion, and the legates. Because the plumes, there are three versions of the plumes, so I use 2 of the same one and 1 of the other. But the centurion only has 1 type of head, so all 3 of the centurions have the same head. One of the centurions, I have him carrying the staff. And the generals, I have 2 with their hands up, 1 with a sword down, and tried to use, I think I used 1 balding head. Okay, so these are the 9 that I've done, and I could go back and do 3 more, 1 from each group. I mounted them on 50 millimeter or 2-inch discs. Some of them are washers, some of them are wood. It just depends on what you want to do. I think, honestly, that these centurion horses and the legate horse is just a little bit longer than the 2 inches. So because he's a general, it should be no problem. But I think I want to put him on maybe a 60 millimeter disc. I have 60 millimeter discs. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so let me pull these up close so you can see what I did when I assembled them. All right, so this is one general that I've done right here. I'm trying to put it a little bit to the left of my camera because of the camera is blocking some of the light, because I'm holding it so close to the camera that the camera is actually interfering with the light. But there, you can see the sword sheath is on his hip. You can see the detail of the horses, the arms where he's holding the reins. He's got his sword down. Might need to prime a little bit better underneath there, huh? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. These are all generals. We'll do the generals first. See, now he's got his sword in his sheath, and because he doesn't have a sword out, he's just raising his hand. And this guy, same, sword in the sheath, raising his hand. Okay, the legates. Sword in the sheath. Wide plume helmet. Pants. Yeah, these guys have pants. See, it goes below the knee. And he has more of a boot than a foot wrap. Now this guy's got the ponytail plume. And he's got a sword in his hand. Sword in his hand, so his sheath would be empty. Different type of plume, the big thick plume. All right, the centurions. Let's go with one with the staff. Centurion helmet looks pretty good. Chainmail, knife on his hip, but he also has the sword in the sheath. You have to give these guys a second coat of primer. But that's exactly what you want to do. You want to put a light coat of primer and then a second coat so you don't ruin any of the details. Victrix has some really deep molds, so they're very easy to paint, and they're very nice looking models. So I'm gonna have to paint these up here pretty soon, maybe tonight, and when I get them done, I'll post something because I have a Rome project that I'm working on. All right, well, that was the Victrix early Imperial Roman generals, and yeah, so come back and check those out once I get them finished, and follow along with my projects, and you'll see when I get these guys all painted up. All right, now as an added bonus, I had finished painting these 9 that I had assembled and showed you. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a close-up view. I got my 3 generals right there. I got my 3 legates right there. And then I've got my 3 centurions right there with their different poses and helmets and things like that. So let's go ahead and get a zoom in on these so that you can see some details. I think these Victrix generals come out really good. You know, the bronze breastplate and the cloaks, and the horses are pretty good detail on the horses. And then the legates. Did a little black plumage on him. The Centurions. Now this Centurion's got the staff. Cloaks look good. Sword. And then this last Centurion, he's on a like thick heavy metal base, but I painted him with a white crest. Yeah, these guys look really good. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out the generals. What do they call it? Early Imperial generals. Yeah, the early Imperial Roman generals. And hopefully you can put these on the battlefield, commanding your armies. All right, I'll catch you next time.